Hey guys, Solomon here. Hope you're all having a great day. Today's video, we're covering what to do with a king and two bishops against a king, how to win it. For some of you, this may seem a little bit intimidating, but I promise you it's very simple and straightforward once you know what to do. The first step is putting the bishops side by side, okay, right next to each other. In this case, we can bring both the bishops out to E3 and D3. And notice what we're doing here. Okay, we're really forming a wall, so it's going to be hard, in fact impossible, for this king to get close to the bishops at the moment. And we also have this king stuck in a box. Okay, now if you've studied at all, you know, the fundamental chess endgames, like a king and queen versus king, or a king and rook versus king, you're going to know to put the king into a square and make that square smaller and smaller and smaller until you have a checkmate, right? Now, in this situation, it's kind of a box, right? It's like a box, like, I don't know, 45 degrees spun over. I don't know. Maybe some of you geometry people can tell me what to call this. A prism. I have no idea. Whatever. All I'm trying to say is that this king is stuck. Okay, it can't get out. In this instance, can the king ever get here? Can this black king ever get here if our bishops don't move? The answer is no, right? The king simply cannot do it because these bishops take all the squares necessary for this king to get there, right? Now, let's say black, moves to this side. Notice we can't just keep manhandling this king with the bishops, right? We can't just go 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to lose our bishops. So my rule is that when you can activate the king, do it, okay? In this instance, let's get this king out. Let's chase down this enemy king. In this case, let's continue to make progress. And eventually, the king's going to have to go back. Like in this instance, right? The king just can't keep going side to side. Both of these squares are taken. So it's going to have to give up ground. And in this case, okay, we're just going to slowly notch up our bishops just a little bit, right? Bring the bishop to E4, bring the bishop to D4. And we're going to continue to do this all the way down the board. Okay, obviously not till the very end there because we don't want to stalemate the king. We'll go over that in a second. But we're going to keep this pattern going. Okay, let's say the king goes over to D6. Again, take ground with the king. Let's say that we reach a position like this, right? It seems as if our bishops are in the best spot they can be. Our king can't, obviously, make progress here. So what do we do, right? Well, we don't want to just give up what we've worked so hard for, right? If we play this move of bishop F6 with check, we just, we had this king in a very small and tight area. These are the only squares that the king can actually move. That's it. And by playing this, we have just opened up the doors yet again to nearly half the board, right? We don't want this. We want the box to be smaller and smaller and smaller. So in this case, what I recommend is simply moving the bishop up where the king is supporting it, right? Let's say the king goes back. Okay, move the bishop up, make ground with the king. And in this instance, once we do get the king to the side, which is very simple, right? Step 1, right? Put the bishops next to each other. Step 2, activate that king and help those bishops get that king to the edge of the board. And then once the king is on the edge of the board, the final step is putting that king in the corner. And I recommend putting the king in the corner where your king is. And because of that, the king's going to be kind of stuck, right? We're going to use our king and kind of shield that king, a little orangutan motion, keep that king in its corner and then checkmate it, right? So in this instance, I don't want to force the king over here because my king's not over there, right? I want to force this king to the dark square of H8, right? So in this instance, let's say a move like king E8. I think the easiest way to do this is just by kind of just nudging your bishop, taking away D8, right? Taking away E8, and now we see the value of this king because we don't want to allow this king to run, right? Let's stop that king, right? Take opposition and really just prevent this king from getting out at all, right? There's no squares that can be taken. The king goes over to the left. We'll just throw in a check, and checkmate. Black simply loses that. Now, going back, we covered this move of king E8, but I wanted to cover, let's say black plays tricky, okay? They might play a move like king D8 here. Whole idea being that when we move our king up to F6, black is able to move back to D8 instead of this square. The reason that this matters is that now white is honestly tempted to stalemate. They're tempted to play a move that stalemates. Now, if you keep following the principles, you're going to go, oh my gosh, okay, let's just keep improving the king. Well, guys, the one time we shouldn't do this is if the king's on the edge of the board, right? Because this king is stuck. It can't move anywhere, and it's not in check. So now we have a stalemate. That's not what we want, right? We don't want to draw here. The king can't move. So if the king's on the very edge of the board, refrain from continuing to chase down that king because it's on the edge of the board. We chase it to put it on the edge of the board. Once it's on the edge of the board, we're just kind of playing, a little stay in your corner motion, okay? In this case. how do we get this king over here? Well, before with the king on e8, we were just able to play bishop c7 and just keep forcing the king over. But in this instance, obviously, if we play bishop c7, we're just going to lose a bishop. So there's two ways to do it, okay? I personally kind of think it's fun to triangulate the king, okay? Notice here, black only has two options, right? They have to go back to his dark square every two moves. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. White here's nothing's going to happen if we just go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, but we can triangulate here and come back to a dark square on an odd number of moves and thereby get the same position, but have it be black's turn. Okay, so in this scenario, if we want to, we can play king e5, king f5, and king f6. Same exact position, but now it's black's move, right? And they're going to have to move their king, and they're, by doing so, we drop this bishop here, and we're off to the races yet again. Another option, though, which is definitely faster, again, I think triangulating is just a really pretty concept. It's, you only have two options. If you go back and forth, even number of moves, and I go back into odd number of moves, it's going to be your turn, right? Which is what I want here. I want it to be black's turn. Another quicker way to do it, though, is just to move our dark squared bishop, okay? And by doing so, we need to keep an eye on c7, okay? Like, again, we're trying to corral this king on the side of the board. We don't want to let this king out. Okay, but we could even play a move like bishop h2, simply just wasting a turn. Again, black cannot go here or here. They only have one turn, which is king e8. And in that case, okay, we go straight back. And y'all know the drill. We're forcing the king to the corner, which our king is, and we're simply going to have a one game. Thanks for watching today's video. Let me know what other kind of endgames you want to see on this channel. I know some of you guys have recommended king and queen versus king and rook and ideas as such. Continue to really give me ideas. I appreciate you guys a ton. Honestly, 95% of the videos I make on this channel are because of you guys and what you recommend. So as always, appreciate y'all, and I'll see you in the next one. Hey, I wanted to give a big shout out to my December 2022 Patreon community. I'm honored and humbled by y'all's support for this vision of the channel. And if you haven't checked out the Patreon community before, go check it out. There's some pretty fun benefits that you gain by joining the crew. Thanks for watching today's video, and I'll see you in the next one.